Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of RevOps Demos That Don't Suck. I am Matthew Baum, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op, global community of 13,000 plus revenue operations professionals from all across the globe. And for this RevOps Demos That Don't Suck series, we take product demos with some of the leading innovative companies that are building tools and technology for revenue operators, so you can get a sense for what the product is, how it can help you, and what it does without having to spend time on the demo for yourself. And so today I am with Chara, one of the co-founders of RevenueHero. RevenueHero is a scheduling tool for B2B revenue teams, but I'm going to let Chara, add anything to that professional introduction, my friend, and tell us a little bit about RevenueHero before I start to pepper you with questions.
No, that was great. So RevenueHero, for RevOps folks, I'm sure you agree, is that the B2B scheduling and calendaring part, while it's table stakes, is least of the headaches. It's everything that happens afterwards in terms of how the data flows, which teams are notified, and what kind of workflows you're able to build out is where it gets interesting for RevOps. So RevenueHero is built to manage the entire life cycle of the meeting, right from scheduling on the website all the way through to ensuring that your CRMs and all your downstream systems have the latest up-to-date information. And that's why RevOps folks love our product. And yeah.
Nice. Well, let's so before I start asking you to kind of show us around and give us a tour of the product, I always like to start with the problem space. So like for folks who are watching this, right, who may be working in revenue operations, maybe they're at a B2B company today, what are the problems or challenges that they're experiencing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis that you all have set out to solve with RevenueHero?
Yeah. So when it comes to RevOps, the role is always interesting. Everybody in the go-to-market team keeps coming up with new processes, bring you one more data point, and they just expect you to wrangle all of it together and make sense of it. And one of the most important data points for a sales-led motion is typically meetings held, right? Especially if you have an inbound motion and you get meetings booked on your different marketing assets. Where we've seen teams struggle is to make sense of all the meeting data, to figure out how all of those meetings went, whether a particular channel is driving a lot of qualified meetings versus a different channel that drives meetings booked but end up as no shows a lot of the time. We've typically seen RevOps folks at companies struggle to put together all of this data, merely because of the fact that most of the products out there and the current solutions help you all the way up to getting the meeting booked on your website or in your emails. But everything downstream is usually up to the RevOps person to try to figure out by following up with the sales rep to understand what happened to the meeting, whether they showed up, whether it ended up completing. We automate that process end to end, right? So we make sure that your meetings get booked on all your converting assets, your emails, your form fills, in-app. And we also ensure that all the data downstream in your CRMs is always up to date, along with the meeting status, which is interesting. And I'll get to and help you understand how we incentivize salespeople to always tell you what happened.
Yeah, I know we've all faced those, I'll say, questions, right? Of well, how many first meetings did we have this past month or this week? How many second meetings? How many, like you said, how many of those meetings were no shows? Are those coming from a channel or one particular channel or another? Hard to certainly wrangle all of that data, and then maybe more importantly too, right, on the call it the prospect experience, right? It's hard to capture all those things that you want to capture, get the data you want, while also making it as streamlined and effective, efficient, frictionless, if you will, for the person on the other end who really just wants to book time with someone to get a demo of a product, for example, and does not care at all about the data points that you want to collect. So having that as the I guess the starting point, the problem space, if you will. So you mentioned a little bit on some unique things and stuff that you are doing, but if that's the starting point with the problems, then how are you all solving for that within Revenue Hero? And maybe pull up, share your screen and kind of walk us through some of those core use cases for a RevOps professional, a revenue operator.
Yeah. So start off with, like you mentioned, Matt, the end user experience, because your prospect honestly doesn't care about what you're tracking and what you're automating. They just need to be able to get in touch with your sales rep, be able to get to a booked meeting when they, show enough interest to go on ahead and submit your form, right? So the first thing that Revenue Hero does is immediately pulls up availabilities of the right sales rep. And the way we do this is by allowing you to set up rules to first check whether the prospect who's submitting the form is already in touch with any of your sales reps in the form of an account or a contact or a lead from the same company but with a different email address. So ownership is always respected. And if they're not part of an existing opportunity or already in your CRM, then you get to distribute them amongst your sales team based on region, segment, right? The choices they've made on your form, what have you, right? So all of this is automated and managed in a single system. So you're able to replicate a complete distribution logic and let that determine the experience that your prospects see, right? So they're able to book a meeting right on your website. And Revenue Hero also works on all your other converting channels. This could be like an email campaign or the Booker demo CTA right within your app. And this is important because one of the things that RevOps folks are tasked with is just taking all the information uh, or taking information from all the sources that you get leads and meetings from and trying to somehow control all of that chaos, right? Now, with Revenue Hero being your source for booked meetings, you now get to control all of that in a single system. So you're not updating distribution rules in 4 different products. You're instead just updating all those rules in a single centralized product, right? So Revenue Hero helps you manage intent to book meetings across all channels. Now, one of the things I mentioned was that whenever the form is submitted or whenever a prospect requests the demo, you get to determine which experience they go through, and configuring that in Revenue Hero is extremely simple, right? So we have native integrations with HubSpot, Salesforce, Zoho, and Freshsales. And once you're integrated into any of these CRMs, anytime a form is filled, you get to set up matching rules, which helps you look up existing records in your CRM, right? And it's very simple, a very Zapier-like clean UI, where all you need to say is, hey, if this prospect already exists in the CRM, either with the same email address or the same domain, or even any custom property, then go on ahead and show them the same owner IDs availabilities, which means they're always matched with the sales rep who's already in touch with them, right? And when they aren't part of your CRM, then you get to set up, for instance, a distribution rule, right? Where you can say if they're from a particular region or if they've chosen specific form values, then route them to a specific team and even determine how the meeting is distributed based on weights or just do a vanilla round robin, right? Now, one of the things that we've done that's helped larger organizations with a sales engineer plus an account executive hopping on calls is collective round robins. Because one of the things that happens for technical products is you have prospects submitting a demo request, looking forward to getting on a call where on the first call they're able to see the product. But most companies aren't able to provide that experience because their current scheduling solution allows them to only schedule a meeting with one group of people, right? So with Revenue Hero, what you're able to do is set up what we call collective round robin, where Revenue Hero looks up the next sales rep available in round robin for that particular prospect and pairs their availability with another set of and pairs their availability with the sales engineers who are associated with them. So the prospect always sees common availabilities between both the AEs and the SEs and are able to book a time where they're immediately able to see the demo right on the first call, right? And like I said, the distribution logic can be based off of the form inputs, existing CRM properties, or even built-in enrichment that RevenueHero provides, or enrichment that you rely on products like Clearbit, ZoomInfo, and the likes. Right?
Where so on the enrichment side for you all, so that's the stuff on the enrichment side there, that is those are data points from RevenueHero, you said.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yeah.
And okay, so you all provide kind of your own enrichment, and then do you have integrations with other data enrichment providers directly, or would people access that through the CRM fields, right? If they were using, like you said, a Clearbit or a ZoomInfo or any other data enrichment provider, would they access those data points just through the CRM integration that you have, or do you integrate directly with those data providers?
So that's a great question. Typically, what we see is people integrate the enrichment provider right beneath their forms. So when somebody submits a form, based on the email address, most enrichment information is updated as hidden fields on the form. And RevenueHero is able to use all of that information to then determine where to route that prospect, right? So in that sense, we integrate with your Clearbits and ZoomInfo form completes, and even Apollo, which now has enrichment right on the form, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to enrichment on the CRM, once the data is in the CRM, you can then use that information to route as long as it's already enriched against the contact in the CRM as well.
Cool. Very cool. And for the, I know you have a bunch of different like routing, I guess, rules here, right? Like we're looking at the inbound demo for enterprise. I saw one on the screen before about like LATAM. How do you handle, or what if there's conflicts, I guess, between any of these different distribution rules that you do get set up? Do you have like, are there alerts or things that pop up as you're building to help you with that, or how would one approach that?
So the way we use or we bring together all these rules is in what we call a router. So when you set up your account, your distribution rules, or rather your distribution rules are essentially just rules or logic to say, if the prospect matches these details, send them to this particular team, right? But they come into action only when you bring together all your distribution and matching rules in what we call a router. So here, the order of execution is determined based on how you add them to the router, right? So this pretty much avoids any form of conflict where the first matching rule always executes and you get to determine the order of execution of each one of these rules, right? And I understand that the question always falls to the DevOps person to say, hey, this should have actually matched for me.
Yeah.
And I should have gotten this, right? Why did somebody else get it? So we built out what we call routing logs, where for each one of these form fills, you have the latest information at the click of a button, and you don't necessarily need to go troubleshoot like from logs or in your CRM to figure out, hey, what information did this person choose on the form, and which rule ended up routing them to a specific owner through the router, right? So you get information down to the line of which rule and which exact condition in the rule matched, resulting in the outcome that this particular form fill had, right? So in terms of troubleshooting what happened with a particular prospect, you always have all of that information right there.
Yep, that's good. And you and I know you mentioned so the routing, the distribution, the matching rules, all very very cool. Looks super easy to set up. I guess two things that popped out to me. One, easy to set up and kind of configure yourself, but then also looks really easy to manage and maintain as well. You had brought up some of the other things that y'all are doing on the like I'll say, I don't know, the rep experience side, like incentivizing people um to what, like update the meeting status and some other things like that. Outside of the routing and kind of distribution stuff you're doing there, what are some of the other unique elements or maybe core use cases for RevOps like that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we work with a lot of RevOps folks in our uh, sales conversations, and so and implementation. So one of the things that we keep hearing back and that we solved for is, so RevOps folks are typically also tasked with making sure that data is always up to date in all your systems, right? This means always knowing what the latest meeting outcomes are, being able to build out like projections based off of it, staffing requirements and so on, especially when it comes to sales, right? So one of the things that we did is when we built out meeting distribution, the distribution is based off of a credit-based system where a sales rep's position in the queue is determined by how many meetings they have already received during that month or quarter, depending on your sales cycles. And the meeting outcome determines whether they receive one more credit because it was a no-show, or whether the completed meeting just remains and they don't get credited back because it was a dummy lead or a no-show, right? Now, the way we make this very easy for sales reps is every time a meeting is assigned to a sales rep, we immediately assign a credit to that sales rep. And we also automatically log that meeting in Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever CRM you use, right? And at the point of the meeting getting logged, the status on the Salesforce activity or the HubSpot activity is set to upcoming, right? And at the end of the meeting duration, we automatically update the meeting outcome to be completed. But what we also do is send a notification on Slack or email, depending on what platform is used in your company, to confirm whether or not it was a completed meeting or whether it was a no-show, right? And a sales rep will always update no-shows if the prospect did in fact not show up, because then they know that they'll be compensated for that meeting and their queue in the position will be adjusted, right? So we've seen adoption increase, and because it's just a single click right from within Slack where they're prompted, we've seen folks go on ahead and actually update those no-shows and data always being up to date in the CRMs, because if it's not a no-show, RevenueHero automatically updates the status to completed. And same goes for cancel, reschedules, etc. So you always have up-to-date information right within your CRM.
Yep, that's great. And the okay, nice. And so all right, so it looks like an event. You kind of pass those through as an event in Salesforce with the proper status and everything else on there. So actually along that lines, you mentioned the updating of the status, doing some of that automatically, relying on sales reps to update no-shows, things like that. And then obviously the CRM integrations you have. We talked a little bit about analytics at the beginning, right? Understanding like meetings held, no-shows, channel. Do you all have kind of analytics embedded into the RevenueHero product? Are you more relying on passing that information into your CRM, for example, so you can do reporting and stuff there? How does that look like for y'all?
Yeah, the short answer is all of the above, because we know that as much as we love building our own reports and try to keep folks in our own platform, sometimes you just can't beat visualizing data in Salesforce or in HubSpot all in one place, right? So we have our own built-in reports, both from a conversion perspective, which tells you, hey, which of my routers, which are associated typically to campaigns and forms, which of my routers are giving me the most number of qualified meetings, which of them, have a lot of folks who are submitting the form but not booking meetings, etc. You have the ability to visualize all of that right within RevenueHero, right? And you're even able to visualize trends to understand if there's a it's all trending in the positive direction, or whether you're seeing sudden dips during specific time periods, right? And when it comes to RevOps and sales ops, one of their favorite reports to look at is the distribution report, where you get to understand which one of your or whether meetings are being fairly distributed amongst your teams, and whether somebody is getting a lot of no-shows versus the other person. So you have all of that report, all of those reports built right into RevenueHero, right? But like I said, we also push all of this information right within Salesforce. So you're able to build out reports on the lines of staffing requirements and how many meetings have already been assigned to which teams. So you're able to build out all of that right within Salesforce or HubSpot as well, right? So yeah, utilization reports is one of those reports we've seen folks build out quite commonly, where they see if it's a AE and SC combo, which ACs are getting the most number of meetings, whether they all end up in the right outcome and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And what so we talked about kind of the ease of setup, some of the way y'all handle distribution, routing, the form fill, things like that. Are there any other, I guess, before I have some more specific questions around integrations and stuff like that, any other core use cases for RevOps that you just want to make sure you hit on for the folks watching?
Yep. So one of the areas where the data and the reporting on all of this and the workflows breaks, especially when it comes to meetings for inbound teams or essentially for sales teams, is you have different channels of meetings. Like I said, you get inbounds through your emails, your ad campaigns, your landing pages, and so on. But you also have the life cycle of that inbound meeting, where your SDR probably takes the first meeting, and then they hand it over to an AE, right? And in a lot of cases, those meetings aren't necessarily logged in the CRM, and you now have to chase the AE to figure out what happened to that handoff and whether the meeting progressed down the funnel, right? So we've also naturally automated the handoff process as well, where whenever an SDR receives a meeting and then they receive the go-ahead from the prospect for the next meeting, they don't need to book that next meeting manually. They're just able to use RevenueHero relays to automate that handoff process as well, right? So whenever I need to hand off a meeting to another AE, if it's through an email, I just send out a link to the prospect where it automatically picks up the AE who's up next in round robin, where you build out this logic in RevenueHero, and the prospect always books the meeting with the next AE in round robin, right? Now, you also get to automate this entire process and book the meeting with the AE itself without having to look at multiple spreadsheets, calendars, etc. For instance, let's say John's ready for the next meeting. I am the SDR in Salesforce, and I'm ready to hand off this prospect. I just click on a button that's added by RevenueHero, right? And I'm able to automatically pull up the next AE's availabilities, right? RevenueHero tells me who's up next, and I just choose the time slot that the prospect said they're available for, and the meeting is already booked on the calendar, logged in Salesforce. The customer or the prospect receives the invite. All the automations are in place. They get automated reminders, and the same meeting status updates are also automated, right? So as a RevOps person, the complete meeting lifecycle and all the data associated to it is now handled by a single tool as end-to-end automated, right? So anything when it comes to meetings data, you can now rely on RevenueHero as the source and always have the latest information.
Yeah, that's great. And so who, I guess as we kind of look at this, right, between the analytics, the distribution rules, the routing rules, the integrations with the CRM, can you give some examples of I guess, customers that you have today? And then as folks are watching this, who's a good fit for the product or solution? I know we've talked a lot about B2B revenue teams. So, again, is it like B2B only? What about B2C? Is there specific industries or like company sizes, or maybe it's complexity or size of your sales team? Like, how should people be be thinking about that in terms of how you all could kind of fit in with them?
Yeah. So I'll maybe start with who our customers are. Just um, some of the customers we've highlighted. Like we have some of the latest and greatest in the marketing tech space, like Customer.io, User Evidence, AppQs, Okendo, Ultimate, Seamless are all customers of Revenue Hero. And in terms of who our ICP would be, we do really well in B2B revenue teams, like you mentioned, where there's at least 3 to 4 sales reps with a working sales motion. This could be, product-led sales motion where you get folks into your app and then try to book meetings with them at the point of activation, or your typical inbound motion where you drive folks to different marketing assets and try to get them to a first call, where Revenue Hero takes care of the qualification, routing, and scheduling on all your marketing assets, right? So any B2B revenue team which has at least 3 to 4 sales reps with a working sales motion has been a great fit for Revenue Hero.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And for folks, I guess, wondering more about integrations. So we talked about some of the CRM integrations, HubSpot, Salesforce being the popular ones. You also mentioned Zoho and Fresh Sales. We talked about, with the CRM integrations. What other integrations, do you have? So you mentioned Slack. I assume you integrate with Zoom. Are there any other like popular integrations? And then I always like to ask the question too of like anything that you don't integrate with that people should care about as well.
Yeah. So one of the things we learned from selling into the marketing, sales, and RevOps space is there's very little you can get away with when it comes to integrating with their tech stack, right? So we've seen all combinations, or at least assume that we've seen all combinations by now, where it's WordPress plus HubSpot plus Salesforce and Slack, and then suddenly you get a curveball about Unbounce and Webflow and Salesforce. So any marketing tech stack out there, I think we've managed to build integrations for. Um, we cover most typical form, CRM, and landing page combinations or CMS combinations. We don't yet integrate with specific CRMs like Pipedrive or niche CRMs like real estate specific CRMs and things like that. But other than that, all your typical form providers, all the way from your OGs like Pardo, all the way through to newer providers like Typeform, we integrate with all of them. And we also have integration to Slack. You're able to generate links off of Zoom, Microsoft Teams, daily.co, and if you happen to use your own meeting provider, we integrate with your meeting provider as well in the form of custom links. Right?
Yeah, awesome. And can you tell me, I guess I see you have pricing on your website, but tell a little bit about how folks should be thinking about either how you charge or the way that you kind of price things with the product.
Yeah. So when it comes to pricing, as a team of and a company, we genuinely believe that SaaS should be reasonably priced, and the value for each license that you pay for should keep multiplying the longer you stay and continue to use the product, right? So our pricing is pretty simple. You pay a fixed platform fee and a license fee, right? So the platform fee is $79 per month, fixed, no matter how many folks you have on the platform. And each user, you pay $25 per month if you're on an annual plan. Or if you choose to go on monthly, then the platform fee is $99, and each user then pays $35 per month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we of course have tiers of plan, of pricing. If you care more about completely white labeling the solution, more complex workflows like based on custom matching criteria and combining your A's and SC's together right from the first call, then we have an enterprise plan where it's $10 more per license. The platform fee still remains the same.
Yeah, cool. And I see, obviously folks can request a demo here. I'm assuming they'll be able to go through the Revenue Hero experience on the prospect side in doing so, right? Is there is that the way that folks can get started? Do you offer any sort of, again, like free trial or any like product led sort of motion, or is it kind of talking to the sales team is the way that folks can get rolling?
So our demo process is more of just understanding what you need and provisioning a free trial or a proof of concept. We don't have a direct trial sign up yet, because one of the things we've noticed is that for a product like ours, where it's workflow heavy and there is always the need to validate whether your exact requirements can be achieved, and sometimes needs a little bit of, hey, here's exactly how to do that and what not to do. We prefer a quick demo, but we also don't expect you to sign anything before you actually get access to the product and see it in action the way you expect it to work, which surprisingly has also been a differentiator in the market, because marketing and sales teams and RevOps teams have been burnt by cases where they don't get access to a product, have a lot of promises, and then get into a product that doesn't cater to all of it, right? So we always provide access to the product, help you prove out your workflows, and only then get into any form of signatures.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, make sure that it can work for the use cases that folks want it to work for before they kind of fully commit. And then yeah, actually, so once folks get to that point, so it sounds like, one, they come in, you're able to get them set up with like some sort of like trial or proof of concept based on the needs that they kind of communicate and the use cases they're looking to solve for. After that, if someone moves forward, I guess, like, how quickly can they kind of get spun up and started? Is the implementation process pretty easy? Is it self-led? Like, are they able to configure and just get things set up on their own? Do they need help or support from your team? What does the implementation process look like?
So typically, we get on the first demo, understand requirements, provision an account. And when it comes to implementation, we like to schedule 3 calls for the implementation. One, just to make sure that you have all the accesses that you need, which for smaller organizations, isn't really a problem. But as the org size grows and you need to get in touch with somebody to make sure that you have access to Salesforce, the admin access that you need to Salesforce, someone who needs to add script to your CMS like a Webflow. As long as you have access to all of these platforms, we've spun up instances and stood them up in one day. But we typically like to schedule 3 calls in the course of a week, and you can be up and running within the course of a week as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is still fast and easy for folks. And I guess one of the maybe last questions I have for you is, when you look at like your product and platform today, and I guess call it the alternative solutions, right? Whether it's like other products that people can buy or just the manual way of doing things that is super painful that you mentioned, right? Of like spreadsheets and multiple tabs, all that stuff. What would you say is the one thing that sets Revenue Hero apart or puts you all at the top of the list that people should consider and know about?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, when it comes to the scheduling and the calendaring, those are table stakes at this point in time. Where Revenue Hero really differentiates and why customers prefer us over others is, one, the depth and sophistication of routing that we enable RevOps folks to configure in Revenue Hero and pretty much replicate from the distribution rules. we've heard isn't possible in existing solutions today, especially because when it comes to things like matching, CRM data is pretty messy, and just relying on things like email domains or complete emails just doesn't work anymore, right? With the amount of data that you push to your CRMs, you're always going to have duplicates, and you're going to keep having custom information to identify or match with the best record in your CRM. So our workflows are really, really deep. It's extremely easy to set up and maintain Revenue Hero. It's not like you go update the name of a router and then everything goes to hell. So we've made it extremely user friendly. And the other part, like I mentioned, is with our integrations and our workflows, we've refined the kind of automation that Revenue Hero enables to a point where you always have the latest up-to-date information in your CRM. We don't just update or create a meeting record in your CRM and then leave it for you to figure out what happened to that meeting. We always update the latest status in the CRM, and that's turned out to be a game changer for a lot of our customers, right? And like I said, for use cases like double round robin, right, and ensuring that you get to choose between distributing meetings in a strict fashion, which is always send it only to the meeting, only to the sales rep up next in round robin, versus show everybody's availabilities and just let the customer pick. This kind of flexibility is also not available in either custom implementations or other tooling out there, right? So yeah, essentially speaking to a lot of marketers and sales folks and solving for those specific problems is where I would say Revenue Heroes differentiate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, product looks awesome. I've experienced a lot of the challenges and pain points that you've mentioned myself before. I know a lot of other folks in the community have brought up the same thing, and also great to see like the impressive lineup of customers and kind of all the different ways that you're helping people. So thank you, Char, for kind of walking through all of that stuff. If folks do want to kind of get in touch with either you or the team, it sounds like if they want to try the product, go to the website, revenuehero.io, request a demo, and that's kind of the best way for folks to give it a shot. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, my friend, again for doing the walkthrough. Everybody who is in the market or maybe wants to give Revenue Hero a try and improve some of the lead routing and scheduling that y'all have, go to the website, give them a free trial. Chara and the team are also in the community in our Slack group. So if you want to chat with him or anyone else on the team directly, you can also find him there. But with that, I will let you all run. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Take it easy.